Question has been considered by many people. What is the ankh? More specifically, what is the ankh object? Ancient Egypt is rare for its having existed for its thousands of years. The civilization gradually declined like many others, and many of its remnants that have become hidden under the sands of time have become unfamiliar and mysterious in our time. And so we ask and we endeavor to learn and to understand about the remnants, their significances, their importance, both then and now. The ankh is a remnant of ancient Egypt. It's known today as a hieroglyphic symbol that means life because it symbolizes concepts about life. But the ankh, as a hieroglyphic symbol, has a second aspect in which it represents a real object. We know this in part because ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic symbols are pictographic. Each symbol is effectively a picture representation of a real object in similar respect as those that are shown here. These symbols are from the Unicode set of characters that is available on most of today's digital computer devices. The hieroglyphic symbols are so recognizable that they are easily categorized. As example here, parts of a human body, mammals, birds. The ankh is a hieroglyphic symbol that should also represent a real object. And so we see the form and we ask the question, what real object does the symbol represent? But the long-standing mystery about what really was the ankh object of ancient Egypt can be cleared up with no uncertainty because the ancient Egyptians provided the information within their depictions of the ankh to answer the question of what is ankh and more. I studied the ankh from about 2014 into 2016, and I learned about the original object even to having reproduced it. And the original object is simpler than many people have imagined. But the object in ancient Egypt had major applications, great effects, and extensive implications as evidenced simply by its functional purpose. Going forward, knowledge about the ankh object will improve current understandings about references and the symbolic significances in which the ankh is involved. Here, for example, involvement of the ankh in this depiction from the Papyrus of Ani is seriously misunderstood. Knowing the ankh object helps to expose the current misunderstandings and the true depiction that's represented. Another here, this depiction that involves the ankh is also misunderstood and mistakenly interpreted. More precise interpretations of ancient Egyptian iconography will become possible because the original ankh object exposes real and symbolic relationships about the ankh that were previously not known. And I will expose what is wrong with the interpretation of this depiction of the ankh later, farther, after we expose the ankh object. So let's examine the information about what the ancient Egyptians did and what the ancient Egyptians provided. Let's examine the ancient Egyptian information about the ankh. Similarly, as seen here, many ancient depictions of the ankh show a minimalistic form of the symbol with no embellishments. This basic form of the symbol is informative and its information is often overlooked. Yet it informs about the basic structure of the ankh with relative positions and locations of the parts of the ankh. Now, this might seem too obvious and too simplistic to be meaningful or otherwise significant. Still, it informs that the ankh has a stable form that persisted for millennia, and this basic form can be regarded to inform that the ankh has three major sections. Those three major sections are seen here. The distinctive loop occupies the top section, the crossbar occupies the middle section, and the vertical stem below the crossbar occupies and forms the third section of the ankh form. Recognition of the three sections is relevant and important because it's an observation and recognition of the ma'at of the ankh form. Ma'at is conceptually the order of things in the ancient Egyptian conception, and the ma'at of the ankh form, or of the ankh symbol, is observable within the structure of the ankh. So while the structure is often overlooked, it's significant to tell us something about the ma'at of the ankh form. Most basically, it tells us that the ankh form has three sections. In an earlier video, I had said that the loop of ankh is always an inverted teardrop shape. I had said the ancient Egyptians don't show or depict the loop of ankh as being a circle or an oval, like a cartouche. Now, this might have caused some confusion amongst viewers because there are images like this one and this one that show ankh with apparently a loop that is circular or oval. Now, I should have explained that these images don't depict properly the ankh loop. These depictions with the circle and the oval in place of the inverted teardrop shape loop are a complex representation, a complex depiction. What these images actually show are symbols that are in foreground, in front of the ankh loop. So the circular shape is in the foreground, in front of the inverted teardrop shape loop of ankh. The oval shape of the cartouche is in foreground, in front of the inverted teardrop shaped loop of the ankh. Now, we can easily demonstrate this as follows. We see here the normal shaped inverted teardrop shaped loop of the ankh form. Here we see the cartouche shape next to the ankh, and here the cartouche shape is moved in front of the ankh loop. Conceptually, it's moved in front of the ankh loop. So from our perspective, it appears to be that the loop of ankh has an oval shape, when in fact it's just the cartouche shape that is in front of the inverted teardrop shaped loop of the ankh. The loop of the ankh the proper loop, is hidden behind the cartouche form. That's what is being depicted here in this artifact. Similarly, we can show the same with the circle that represents a solar disk. Here we have a circle that's above the ankh form that has its proper inverted teardrop shaped loop. In this image, the circular shape is brought down to be in front of the inverted teardrop shaped loop of the ankh, so that it looks like the circular form, the solar disk, is part of the ankh form, when it's not. The complex composition conceptually has the ankh loop hidden behind the solar disk, the circular form of the solar disk. And that is what we see here in this depiction on a ring from the Amarna period. I believe it is 18th dynasty. From the papyrus of Ani, we see that the ankh form has its proper inverted teardrop shaped loop, but a solar disk, a circular solar disk, is held above the ankh form, above the loop, essentially showing that the loop of ankh is not circular. It effectively shows that that the solar disk, the circular form, can move or be moved to be in front of the loop of ankh, the proper loop of ankh. So when the solar disk is moved downward, it would hide the proper loop of the ankh, so that it would appear as if the loop of ankh has a circular form when it doesn't. So when I say that the ancient Egyptians never depicted the ankh form as having a circular shape or an oval shape, and that the form of ankh only has an inverted teardrop shape, this is what I mean. These depictions are complex compositions with multiple symbols that are juxtaposed so that they appear to occlude the proper loop of the ankh.